everyone, I'm Ryder. My dad Cody is a project manager for the Town of Easton, and he has asked me to talk about the stream restoration project the town recently completed. I will mention everyone who has helped make this project happen at the end of the video. But this project would not have been possible without the financial support from the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, Chesapeake and Atlantic Coastal Bay Trust Funds. Today we're going to talk about what the Papermill Branch is, why the Papermill Branch needed to be restored, how the restoration work happened, and how the restoration of the Papermill Branch helps our community and wildlife. Let's get started. What is the Papermill Branch? The Papermill Branch is a small stream whose watershed lies entirely within the Town of Easton. There are several watersheds in the Town of Easton, as can be seen here in pink, blue, and yellow. The Papermill Branch watershed is in yellow. For those of you at Easton Middle School, I have circled the school in red for reference. The water from the Papermill Branch flows into the Trend Avon River, then goes into the Choptank River, and then finally goes into the Chesapeake Bay. One of the unique characteristics about the Papermill Branch is that its watershed is entirely urban runoff. Why did the stream need to be restored? The stream's physical characteristics, such as channel depth and width, have changed over time due to the influence of the town's growth or urbanization over time. Increases in impervious surface, such as roads, parking lots, and buildings, have led to changes in the quantity and intensity of the water flowing into the Papermill Branch. These changes include increased rates of stream bank erosion and separation of the stream's channel from its natural floodplain. While these changes may not seem significant on their own, there are several negative environmental impacts that occur from these changes. As rates of erosion have increased, so have the amount of sediment that flows downstream into the Trend Avon River and ultimately into the Chesapeake Bay. These increased rates of sediment can smother native grass and natural oyster reefs, both of which play important roles in health of the bay. The increased rates of erosion that are occurring now also cause separation of the stream from its natural floodplain. Healthy stream systems have the ability to leave their banks and flow into floodplains during periods of high water flow. The floodplain acts like a sponge, holding the water, giving the water a chance to soak into the groundwater system, and allowing sediment and the nutrients to be removed from the water. Sediments and nutrients that would have otherwise gone into the Chesapeake Bay. These physical changes in the stream have also led to changes in the plant and animal communities that live in and around the stream, also known as the riparian zone. As the amount of water that enters the floodplain changes, so do the plant communities that depend on the water. Over time, plant communities that were dominated by a diverse number of native plants can be removed by a few species of non-native and often invasive plants. In the case of the Papermill Branch, the plant community was quickly being overtaken by a single invasive species, porcelain berry. While it may have attractive berries, porcelain berry is an aggressive plant that climbs over all of the plants in its way, as can be seen in these pictures. How did the restoration work happen? The Papermill Branch Stream Restoration Project was designed with the goals of improving water quality in the Trend Avon River and Chesapeake Bay, and improving the plant and animal communities that are associated with the stream here in Easton. Once the goals were identified, the first step was to survey the existing conditions. The survey includes measuring the stream's physical characteristics, length, width, and depth, mapping natural resources, wetlands, woodlands, critical areas, and identifying the existing plant and animal communities. After the existing conditions were identified and mapped, the design work could begin. With these goals as a guide, changes to the stream's location and elevation were made to reduce rates of erosion and reconnect the stream to its floodplain. Wetlands were created to reduce flooding, promote groundwater recharge, and nutrient removal. And a new planting plan was created to reestablish the natural native plant communities that are so important to maintaining ecological balance. After the design and permitting phases were complete, one of the first priorities was to address the invasive species, to minimize their ability to reinvade the newly restored areas. After the treatment and removal of the invasive species, the contractor was able to start the stream construction efforts. Let's watch some of the construction as it happened. How can the restoration help our community and wildlife? The Papermill Branch Stream Restoration Project will have a positive impact on our community and wildlife in both the short and long term. In the short term, the project will immediately start having an impact on local water quality, which will help protect the balance of our natural ecosystems. The native plantings, over 10,000 in total, will support local populations of insects, birds, reptiles, and mammals. The town also plans to use these restoration efforts as an opportunity to engage our citizens in becoming better watershed stewards. The Papermill Branch site is adjacent to an upcoming rail trail project where citizens will be able to watch the restoration project progress. The town will have interpretive signage that will educate citizens not just about the stream restoration, but also what they can do to help minimize their environmental impact. Additionally, the restoration of the stream helps the Town of Easton meet its MS4 requirements. MS4, or Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, is an EPA directive to engage small and large towns to do their part in helping to restore the Chesapeake Bay. Relative to other types of nutrient and sediment removal practices, this stream restoration project is a cost-effective way of reducing the sediment and nutrient load in the bay. In the long term, it is expected that this project will be one part of the solution in the restoration of the Chesapeake Bay. By improving water quality through the reduction of nutrient and sediment loads and supporting the native plant, animal, and aquatic communities that make the Chesapeake Bay the ecological treasure that it is. Thanks for watching.